The following video was for good-looking people only. Damn right you can stay. What we're doing today is we're discussing everybody's favorite four-letter word, the TFSA. Okay, it's not a word, it's an acronym for tax-free savings account. But it should be used as an investment account. The TFSA is essentially a container in which you can buy, hold, and store anything tax-free. And what you want to do is you want to create this unstoppable machine of your money compounding tax-free over the years. In fact, you know what? TFSA kind of sounds like an unstoppable machine.
John Connor, I am the TFSA. My mission is to protect you from taxes. I'm a living tissue of a metal endoskeleton from the Canada Revenue Agency.
And I have the ring light in my eyes. Look, it look like two little baby eyes. Look at it. Yeah. Welcome to Big Matty Money. Yeah. Kind of hurt my shoulder there. Before we get started with this video, if you do enjoy it, give a little thumb wrestle to the like button, give me a nice massage, work it out for the subscribe button for me too, and if you could also tickle the bell notification icon, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so who can open a TFSA? Well, you have to be 18, you have to have a SIN card, you have to have a social insurance number, and you gotta have a pulse, you gotta be alive. Those are the only things that you need. Every year since the year 2009, the government has added more contribution room. And your personal contribution room begins to accumulate in whichever year you turned 18. So, for example, if you were born in the year 2000, your contribution room wouldn't begin until 2018. If you're a super old guy like me with the ring light on the top of his head, your contribution room may be the full extent if you happen to be 18 before 2009. The best thing to do is to go to the Canada Revenue Agency's site. I'll put a link in the description so that you can check out your personal contribution room. Now, if you don't have a CRA login, you can use the sign-in partner link and you can sign in using your online bank username and password if you have one of the sign-in partners here. Just be mindful of the update here, as any contributions you've made after this date are not reflected here. So if you've never contributed to a TFSA and you happen to turn 18 before the year 2009, you have full contribution room. How much is that in this year, the year of 2021? I'm glad you asked. But in order to answer that question, I gotta call upon my alter ego, Big Matty Maestro. Hello, my name's Big Matty Maestro and I make songs about personal finance. This is one of my personal favorites. It's called TFSA Contribution Room, in brackets, working title. Still working on it. Tax-free savings account. You contribute some money, not just any amount. It started way back in 2009. The government said 5 G's, just keep it. That's fine. Then 5 more G's, 5 more G's, 5 more G's, please. Then 5.5, 5.5, added with ease. Then in 2015, they had a trick up their sleeve. They said make it 10 G's. We could hardly believe. Then 5.5, 5.5, 5.5 again. Then 6, devilishly 6 G's, my friend. If you had this on love, you get 755. 'Cause TFSA means to feel so alive. Beep. Okay, so how do you open a TFSA? I personally have mine with Questrade. Another popular one these days is Wealthsimple. At the time of this recording, Questrade requires a $1,000 minimum deposit. Wealthsimple does not. Now, if you don't have $1,000 yet, it might be a good idea to save up an emergency fund, a savings fund of about 3 months, just to cover you before you take your only $1,000 and throw it into a TFSA, because the idea is for this to be a long-term investment that you do not touch. Again, though it's called a savings account, you want to use it as a long-term investment account. Alrighty, so how does one fund their account? Well, there are several ways to do this. You can use an Interac e-transfer. You can use online banking. You can also choose pre-authorized deposits. This is where you're making regular contributions. For example, if you want to max out the $6,000 of contribution room, you could do a monthly deposit of $500 each month. 500 times 12 equals 6,000. This would allow you to do something called dollar cost averaging, where you're buying into the market at regular intervals. You're not getting speculative, you're not getting emotional, the price doesn't bother you. This is your set amount of money and you're buying in. The best thing about this too is that you're constantly investing. Now, you can also transfer your TFSA to Questrade. This is what I ended up doing. Basically, my bank liquidated my TFSA, turned it all into cash, and then I was able to move it over into Questrade. Note that you can open as many TFSAs as you want, but your contribution room is set across all these TFSAs. The contribution room lies with the individual, not the account. Now, this is important. You will not receive a tax slip for your TFSA. The broker, in my case Questrade, will notify the government of your TFSA contribution. This is why when you log into the CRA site and you see your contribution room and you see the date, this is updated yearly, so that's why there's going to be a lag on that date that's underneath your contribution room. That's why it is best to track it yourself. And an easy way to track it yourself too, besides just updating an Excel spreadsheet, is try to make contributions that are logical. Don't do, $100 this month and do like a bologna sandwich next month and then like a sock filled with quarters. Do regular amounts that you're going to remember. Try to keep it organized so you do not over contribute and you do not get penalized. All right, so we just received a question via Twitter from Dino D'Angelo at Big Matty Money. So, bruh, what you holding in the TFSA? Let's make that tax-free bread for a nice mortadella sandwich. All right, so what is this guy holding his TFSA? I'll keep it very simple. I buy index funds, specifically one called VFV. Now, this is a fund that follows the S&P 500. That is the 500 largest American companies. Now, the reason that I invest in index funds because cheap fees. The reason why I've chosen the S&P 500 is because the American economy is the largest in the world, and I believe over time this is best suited to make my investments grow. Throughout the year, I'll see returns in capital gains, I'll see returns in dividends, and if one day I decide to sell, it's all my money. All right, so we have yet another question here coming in from a shy Sheila. She says, at Big Matty Money, what is not okay to put in your TFSA for realsies? P.S. Love the channel. Okay, so what do I not hold in my TFSA? Well, first, virtually no cash. The money is constantly working to gain interest. And every year, my TFSA will be maxed out with whatever new contribution room is added. Another important thing, I don't own any high-risk investments in here. Because, now this is very important, your contribution room can grow, but your contribution room can also shrink. It can shrink like a frightened turtle or like... So your room is able to grow, and your room can actually be higher than the contribution room because if you have it growing and compounding year over year, it can be bigger than that maximum 75,500 as of the year 2021. Conversely, your contribution room can also shrink if you bought bad investments that went down and then cashed out. And then that would hinder your ability to have a large enough container so that you can grow and compound money year over year. Okay, now I'm about to sum up this whole video within 30 seconds, making everything you just watched completely pointless. And yeah, I still got the little ring lights happening there, but that's all right. So to make this whole thing come full circle, the whole Terminator theme, I'm gonna do this short, concise, like a machine. Ready? Here's everything you need to know.
The TFSA is best used as an investment account because everything within it grows tax-free and is all yours to keep upon selling. You have to be 18 to open a TFSA, and your contribution room is cumulative from the calendar year you turned 18. If you turned 18 prior to 2009 and haven't contributed, your total contribution room as of 2021 should be $75,500. Check on my CRA to confirm your personal contribution room. You can open an account with an online broker. Links in the description. You will not receive a tax slip for TFSA contributions, so check it yourself. Your broker will notify the government of your contributions. Your TFSA room can grow or shrink like muscles along with your investment if the money is removed. But remember, don't remove as we're looking for long-term growth, tax-free, big muscles. Try watching everything I just said. The 1.5 times speed is going to make your brain go crazy.
We also have our free tool called Whoop Assets. The link is in the description, so open up a can of Whoop Assets.